Good morning. Today is the 21st day of ER, and we're coming up on Shavuos already. It's coming close, 2 weeks away. And it's also the 12th of May. In today's 6th reading of Behar-Bechukotai, we learn a very, very important but relatively unknown mitzvah called Arachin. Arachin literally means that a person can come and say, I want to donate to God the amount that I am worth. Arachin literally means worth. How much am I worth? So we're looking at Leviticus chapter 27, verse 1, and the entire reading deals with this. There are other types of worth that a person can donate to God. He can donate the value of his field, he can donate the value of his house, and he can also donate the value of his animal. So there are 4 types of value that can be donated. The two that are closer in some ways are the person donating his own value, or even saying, your value is upon me, meaning I can say that the value of the person that I'm looking at is what I will donate now to charity, to tzedakah, to God. And I can also say it by myself, I'm going to donate my own value. And the values, it's very important to know, are not dependent on what people would call my market value. Meaning, we don't assess the worth of the person based on how much he's actually worth. We're not asking how many possessions he has. We're not asking how skillful he is. We're not asking how healthy he is, how developed he is, how cultured, how learned. None of these things. We only look at the age of the individual. And the ages are like this: from being born till 30 days, there is no value, because until 30 days, the person is not considered to be yet, to have a stake yet in the world. He's not. We're not sure yet whether he will live or not. From 30 days to 5 years, the values are 5 shkalim, 5 shekels, which is a certain amount of silver, for a male, and 3 for a female. From 5 years to 20 years, 20 for a male and 10 for a female. From 20 to 60 years, 50 shekels for a male and 30 for a female. And 60 and above, 15 shekels for a male and 10 shekels for a female. Now, there's a lot to be said about how the Torah comes up with these numbers and what they signify. What I want to look at, though, is something a little bit different. And this has to do with the fact that we're now in the 6th reading of Bechukotai, which means really that we finished, we didn't talk about this yesterday so much, but we just finished reading all the blessings and all the curses that come upon a person, or the nation itself, whether we keep the Torah or abandon it. And in general, this is almost a description of everyone's life. That we have our ups and downs. We have periods in which we feel blessed, and periods in which we feel cursed, or we feel that things are not going our way, and so on. And a lot of times, the way that our psychology works is that whenever we feel that things are not going our way, we feel that our value is lower, and that brings people to depression. Now, the reason that people feel that their value is lower when they imagine things are not going their way, or when they're really not going their way and they're not being successful, is because we have expectations that things should go our way. We have some kind of expectation that we should be very, very successful, we should have a good life, and so on and so forth. The Torah comes and says, look, regardless of the fact that you've been very successful, had many, many blessings, or you've had very little blessings, yes, in the end, you do have value. You do have a value which is equal to every other individual in the world. There is no such thing as a person who does not have value, except, or like we said, before 30 days old, there is no value yet. The reason, again, being because we're not sure that this child will be able to survive beyond the 30 days. So we say the first 30 days, it's called a chazakah. He doesn't yet have a chazakah of life. He's not yet ingrained in life yet. The life is not yet strong enough in the body. But after that, every person has a value, and they're all the same. This is a very important point. There are people who have more blessings, and there are people who have more difficulties. But in the end, everyone has value. That's what the Torah is impressing upon. And it's true that this equal value changes through one's life. As you get older, the value goes up, and the prime is between the ages of 20 and 60. Those are the prime years of life, when life is strongest in the person. After age 60, apparently life begins to dwindle slowly, so the value begins to go down. But between for each age group, the value is the same. And a person has to know this after the blessings and the curses, that nonetheless, even though there are trials and there are difficulties and there are periods of blessing in life, I always have value. And that has to be reminded to a person. And sometimes the way to get out of these feelings of being in a rut, or the opposite, getting out of a sense that somehow I'm more valuable than other people because I've had so much success, is to come and say, I donate my value, the way that the Torah assesses it, and I give it to charity. And then the person discovers, wait a minute, I'm exactly the same as everyone else in my age group, regardless if whether I had more blessings or had more difficult times. In the end, we all have value. And the Torah is very adamant about this, that this has nothing to do with your skills. It doesn't have anything to do with your learning, with your success, or the opposite. This is ingrained into you just by being alive. So that's the first point that I'd like to make about this. The second point is something that's very, very important. And there's a lot of times, especially in the Western world, is not exactly understood, is that the value goes up the older you are. It's true here that after age 60, the value comes down again. But the idea is that the longer that a person is around in this world, the more has been, we'll say it this way, the world, God has invested more in creating this person, in building them up to be what they are. And again, we're not talking about how much learning they've had or how much success they've had, and none of that. Just the very fact that the body is here for that long, it's a long-term investment. The longer God is investing in this person, the more the value goes up. In the Western world, there's always this thing about the children are innocent, and therefore it's much worse when a child, God forbid, something happens to a child and not to an older person. But the Torah certainly has another point of view, which that's true too, but another way of looking at it is that the older the person, the more the universe, God has invested in them, the more value they have in terms of what they contain within them in terms of their life force. They've been around here longer. Usually, it also includes that they've learned more and are more cultured and have more to contribute. But again, the Torah is not looking at that right now. It's just saying the very fact that you are older means that you do have more value, and more value than the child. There's a lot more to speak about this because this is a very interesting concept. The Torah also has that someone comes and says, my market value. That is also true. A person can come and assess his value if he were in some way assessed in a marketplace, how much he's worth, and he can give that as well. But here the Torah is talking about face value, nominal value, that is not assessed in any way. It's a blanket rate based only on age, and that is the conclusion of the blessings and the curses, so that a person understand that they always have value. This is a very important a message to get across to everyone, especially people who are having a difficult time, but sometimes also specifically to the people who are having a lot of blessings, to see that in the Torah's eyes, nominally you are equal to everyone else in your age group. And so with this we'll end today, and I'll wish everyone a good Shabbos, Shabbat Shalom, and hope to meet you again next week, hopefully on Sunday.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Thanks, Rabbi.